Nigeria and around the world, I was thinking about our work at the Clinton Foundation and how fiercely proud I am of the fact that we've helped now almost 12 million people access antiretroviral drugs around the world, and close to 2/3 of the children who are on pediatric antiretrovirals around the world access them through agreements that we helped negotiate. There are still more people who aren't on antiretrovirals than are, adults and children alike. And so for me, it's always kind of what more can and then should we be doing? Because I think once you have kind of figured something out, whether that is how to ensure that you make yourself visible, or that people know how to do things, or that issues like girl marriage are not kind of on the sidelines, not left in the shadows, because it should make us uncomfortable. I think once kind of we know how to do something, we just have to keep doing more of it. Because I think every kind of nominal success just reveals in some ways how much more work there is to be done. But also kind of creates opportunities for us to bring more people into that work, which is something that you and I were talking about earlier. And so just to end briefly with a direct answer to your question, I recognize many people here today, and so kind of I know you will have heard me talk about my grandmother before. My mother's mother had a life I couldn't even imagine. She was born to unwed teenage parents. They abandoned her multiple times, and for the last time when she was 8, they put her on a train to look after her 2-year-old sister by themselves from Chicago to Los Angeles, which at the time was a 2-day journey. She lived in with her grandparents, who right before her 14th birthday told her as soon as she turned 14 she had to go out and support herself, and they considered her to be an adult. So she went and she worked as a maid and a nanny in someone else's home, and she still managed to graduate from high school with honors. And what made the biggest difference in her life was a counselor who repeatedly told her you have value, but also repeatedly brought an extra sandwich for lunch that she just happened to have. So she didn't make my grandmother feel stigmatized for her hunger, and she didn't make her feel stigmatized for the fact that she had to work to support herself. But she kind of gave her the dignity of a shared meal, but also a shared faith, and then ultimately what became her confidence that she could create a different life for herself than what maybe would have been expected for someone who'd been born to unwed teenage parents and abandoned at such a young age. And so that just says to me, not only do we have to keep going, but we don't know how even what may seem kind of small actions have very large ripple effects. Like, thank goodness C-SPAN picked up your call. And all of the time you kept calling until that moment